I did not see myself running for office. I have tattoos, and when I first ran, I had electric yellow hair. I was not the typical candidate, but it was really folks in my network saying, you should run for office, that made me think, absolutely not. And it took up probably about 7 more times for people in my network to encourage me to be the leader that I wanted to see in that state house. My name is Tiara Mack. I'm a formerly low income Black queer elected official. I ran for office in 2020 as the youngest person in my chamber, and I have been in elected office for 5 years. Before I ran for office, I was already pretty civically engaged. I was going to the state house as a volunteer. I first started getting involved locally when I was a college student on campus, helping local elected officials at the state level run for office. And then once I graduated, I became a high school teacher. And I knew that the students that I worked with every single day faced challenges that I could not solve as a high school teacher. So I went to the state house and learned how to get involved, learned how to talk to legislators, and even spent some time sleeping on the couches at the state house. So it really became a place that felt like home and gave me the confidence that because I met legislators, some who I saw myself in and some who I did not see myself in, that I could be someone who sat in those same seats that they were sitting in. And so it was folks who I had spent many nights in the state house with, advocating for, folks who I had gone to rallies with, people I had spent multiple nights organizing with that really encouraged me to toss my name in the race, and who were the biggest supporters, who were willing to knock on doors, who were willing to do mailing parties, and who really continued to be the sounding boards that I need in my community. I maintain my network in a couple of different ways. I am a millennial, so I have a TikTok, I have an Instagram, I use a broadcast channel on my Instagram, and I also do the old school email and a little bit of snail mail to keep in contact with folks. One-on-one conversations are probably one of my personal favorite things because it's really just about getting to know people. And as someone who never saw myself as a politician, I still don't see myself as a traditional politician, but I do see myself as someone who's great at learning what people's issues are. As a formerly low income person, going door to door and learning about the issues in a neighborhood that I might not live in, but oftentimes looks a lot like the community that I either grew up in or like the communities that I fight and champion at the state house. Those intentional one-on-one conversations are really just to get to know the people, the backgrounds, and the history of places that oftentimes are not represented in state laws and policy. I think some of the challenges that I faced and continue to face is I am a young elected leader. I am still the youngest person in my chamber. I first got elected and ran. I first ran when I was 25 years old, and I got elected when I was 26 years old. And since then, for the last 5 years, I have been the youngest person in my chamber. Building relationships, especially with people across generations, across socioeconomic class, across race, and across gender, is no easy task, especially when you have things like imposter syndrome or come from a background of family members and friends who typically aren't in these spaces, but whose voices and stories desperately need to be heard. If you want to be someone who is geared towards change, if you want to be someone who steps against the traditional leadership grain and is going to come in with a bold, audacious vision, then running for office is inherently for you.